Our message is clear. We must strengthen partnerships which look at strengthening multi-level governance, promote the localization of SDGs, and ensure policy coherence for sustainable development. Italy is ready to do its part, together with all of you. Thank you.
Substantial religious affairs from Ghana. And after Ghana, it will be Japan.
Okay. Executive Director of UN Habitat, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, Mayors, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana and the people of Ghana, I convey warm greetings and sincere appreciation to the government of Azerbaijan and the UN Habitat for convening this 13th session of the World Urban Forum here in Baku. Ghana fully aligned itself with the theme of this forum, housing the world, safe, resilient cities and communities, because housing is not only a social necessity, it is the foundation of dignity, resilience, productivity, and inclusion. Ghana's urban transition is accelerating. Urban population continues to grow rapidly, creating significant opportunities for innovation, expertise, and structural transformation. At the same time, the transition is intensifying pressure on housing, land management, mobility, drainage, sanitation, waste systems, and public services. For us, the urban question is not peripheral to development. It is central to national transformation. We are therefore pursuing a coherent urban agenda anchored on decentralization, integrated planning, and local participation. We are strengthening metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies so that governance is brought closer to the people and local authorities are better managed to plan, finance, deliver essential services, and others. Our decentralization reforms are being advanced to promote accountable governance, local economic development, popular participation, climate resilience, inclusion, and innovation. At the policy level, Ghana has taken important steps to strengthen national framework for sustainable urban development. We have revised the National Urban Policy and Implementation Plan to guide inclusive, resilient, well-managed urban growth. Our objective is clear: to move from fragmented urban responses to coordinated, data-driven, and investment-ready urban transformation. On housing, Ghana is acting with agency. We have introduced a National Home Ownership Fund to expand access to long-term blended financing for civil servants and informal sector workers. Through the Affordable Housing Program, government subsidies for service land and trunk infrastructure are reducing delivery costs by up to 40%. We have also introduced a district housing program that promotes local building materials and climate smart construction to ensure affordability while reducing environmental impact. We are also advancing concrete flagship programs to translate policy into delivery. Our local economic development policy and the 24-hour market model initiative seeks to modernize market infrastructure, reduce congestion, improve sanitation and safety, support women and youth-led enterprises, and connect urban planning with jobs and revenue generation. At the same time, we continue to advance locally led climate adaptation through targeted support to local authorities, enabling communities to invest in resilient building actions that respond directly to their needs. This reflects our conviction that resilient cities require empowered local government and communities that are trusted, financed, and equipped to lead. Distinguished delegates, Ghana comes to Baku with simple message. The implementation of new urban agenda must now be accelerated through stronger local communities, greater access to urban and climate finance, and renewed commitment to adequate housing as a driver of equity, resilience, and prosperity. We believe that the future of sustainable urbanization depends on partnership that are practical, inclusive, and adequately resourced. Developing communities must therefore developing countries must be supported not only with commitments, but with financing, technology, capacity building, and policy cooperation necessary to deliver at a large scale. Ghana stands ready to work with all partners to build inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable cities and communities for for present and future generations. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Excellency. Next, I will now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Japan.
Thank you. Honorable Chairman and Executive Director, Excellence, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations on the convening of the 13th World Urban Forum. Over the past decade since the adoption of the new urban agenda, urbanization has continued to accelerate. At the same time, the world has faced numerous crises that threaten human settlements, including pandemic, increasingly influence and severe natural disasters, and growing instability in security. Despite these challenges, Japan has steadily advanced its effort in line with the principles of the new urban agenda. We have worked to ensure access to inclusive and safe housing while promoting sustainable development. First, Japan has strengthened policy to support vulnerable people, including the elderly, persons with disability, and foreign residents, so that everyone can live safely and securely. Japan has enhanced measures to ensure housing access and provide social support for those in need. In recent years, disasters have become more severe and frequent. In response, we have been working to improve safety against water-related disasters through resilient infrastructure development and measures that facilitate timely evacuation. We have also promoted earthquake-resistant construction to enhance the overall resilience of buildings. In areas that have suffered large-scale damage, we are pursuing comprehensive reconstruction based on the principle of build back better. Furthermore, in order to realize sustainable cities and national land development, Japan is promoting in the development of network infrastructure, strengthening urban function, and encouraging dual residency that attract creative human resources to regional areas. Japan has also been sharing its knowledge and experience with countries around the world. In collaboration with UN Habitat, we have been contributing to the resolution of various urban housing challenges. We will continue to work together under strong partnership. Specifically, Japan will share its advanced technologies and expertise in areas such as disaster risk reduction, post-disaster recovery and reconstruction, transit-oriented urban development, and provision of affordable housing, and the spatial decentralization from overly dense cities to regional areas. To ensure effective implementation of these efforts, it is essential to establish platforms that are accessible to all countries. Japan will continue to contribute to the operation of such platforms in collaboration with UN Habitat. As part of this initiative, we will host panel during this forum on the theme of sustainable national land, and we warmly invite your participation. Finally, I'd like to highlight that next year, Japan will host Green Expo 2027 in Yokohama under the theme Scenery of the Future for Happiness. I sincerely look forward to welcoming you all in Yokohama. Thank you for your attention.
Arigatou gozaimasu, Your Excellency. Next, I would like to invite Deputy Minister of Public Works and Transport from Laos People's Democratic Republic. After that, it will be Liberia. Laos.
Have been issued. The Ban Man Kong Housing Program, over 100,000 households to develop secure housing solution, strengthening community cohesion and access to essential services. The Dindang Smart City Redevelopment Program also further demonstrates how urban renewal can improve living conditions while enabling residents to remain within their communities. With over 1,600 universal design rental units have been provided. Excellencies, Thailand appreciates UN Habitat's continued cooperation in advancing inclusive urban development and SDG localization. We attach great importance to the new urban agenda And this event will help inform the NUA midterm review this July. Thailand stands ready to work with all partners to advance inclusive, resilience, and sustainable urban development for all. Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you, Minister. May I now call Tuvalu, Minister of Public Works, Infrastructure, Development and Water.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, for to follow the National Urban Agenda is not an extraction framework. It is about whether our people can continue to live safely on their land. Over the past decade, we have strengthened national coordinations on climate actions and prioritized our resilience across all sectors. We understand that housing, infrastructure, water, and land must address together. But let me be clear, our biggest barrier is not policy, it's access to finance. Chairperson. Climate financing systems are too slow, too complex, and too distant from the reality of small island states. While we navigate procedures, our community faces rising seas, overcrowding, and increasing risks. For our atoll nations, housing is not about development, it's our survival. If we are serious about the UN agenda, new agenda, the next decade must be delivered differently. Tuvalu called the three urgent actions. First, simplify, accelerate access to climate financing with direct and predictable fundings for vulnerable countries. Secondly, ensure integrated delivery across sectors so the housing, infrastructure, and climate adaptations are implemented together and not in silos. Third, elevate the priorities of the small island states in the global decision makings, including the lead-up to the new urban agenda midterm review. Chairperson, we are not asking for a new framework. We are asking for a system that works. Tuvalu stands ready to work with the partners to ensure our communities can live with dignity, safety, and resilience. Thank you.
Very much, Minister, even for keeping time. You are asking for a system that can work. Thank you. United Republic of Tanzania, Minister of Land, Housing, and Human Settlement. Please take the floor.
Madam Chair, it is a pleasure and honor for me to speak in front of this August forum. I give utmost gratitude to the government of Azerbaijan for hosting us under the organization of UN Habitat. And with me, I bring to you the humble greetings from Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Madam Chair, Tanzania welcomes and supports the theme chosen for the WUF13, that is housing the world, safe and resilient cities and communities. This theme underscores the core objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and the new urban agenda, which serves as a new vision for our cities and human settlements. Madam Chair, as we take stock of the progress in the implementation of the new urban agenda, the current situation gives us rise to mixed feelings. Housing remains largely unaffordable both in the developing and in developed countries. Yet, the world is way behind on its goal on making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, as stipulated in SDG 11 and in paragraphs 46, 53, 55, and 106 of the new urban agenda, which commit to promoting affordable, secure, and resilient housing finance and policies to address homelessness, slum upgrading, and urban sprawl. Madam Chair, the new urban agenda calls for implementation for governments to improve informal settlements through slum upgrading, promoting land tenure security, and providing basic services. The informal settlements, in which 67.3% of the urban population lives, play a dominant and critical role in the housing sector in Tanzania. We have therefore taken several initiatives in transforming informal settlements. The government has shifted its policy from forced evictions towards in situ participatory informal settlements by upgrading and regularization infrastructure, basic services, and secures land tenure. The government's efforts have been focusing on strengthening urban resilience, improving basic services, and regularizing land ownership, but also strengthening land use planning to enhance sustainable urbanization. Honorable Chair, despite the progress achieved, like in any other developing country, implementation of the new urban agenda NU in Tanzania faces significant challenges driven by rapid urbanization and resource constraints, resulting in widespread informal settlements, inadequate infrastructure, and poor service delivery. Efforts to counter these disturbing eventualities are underway by engaging other actors, including the private sector. I thank you very much for your...
Thank you, Minister, for keeping time. I'm now going to call Uruguay, Minister of Housing and Territorial Planning. Please take the floor. Are you there? Yeah, okay.
Autoridades, representantes de...
Authorities and representatives from governments, international organizations, and civil society. It's an honor for Uruguay to be part of this new edition of WUF13, a space key to acknowledge the urban agenda and with the construction of more resilient lands. I transmit the greetings of our President, Shaman Worf. Uruguay is in this forum acknowledging that urban planning is part of climate change. In an international context where we see inequalities, impacts in the environment, we understand that urban planning and urban policies are strategic tools to guide development. We reaffirm the need to foster an integral perspective from social justice, land, and environment. The implementation of a new urban agenda should strengthen the 2030 agenda, especially with the links between mobility, access to land, environment, and the elimination of inequalities, with emphasis in public policy, data-driven solutions, and
land use plan. Inclusive planning that equitably consider benefit for everyone, regardless of age, physical condition, gender, or socio-economic status. Promoting the preparation and implementation of spatial and urban plan across all administrative levels, including villages, commune, district, municipality, capital city, and the provinces, especially in sensitive areas and those with high economic potential, to ensure a balance between development and conservation. Urban heat mitigation, addressing rising urban heat by transforming public facilities such as schools, pagodas, and public institutions into green zones and public spaces for gathering or exercise to promote social interaction and well-being. Climate adaptation, equipping and improving urban infrastructure to cope with climate risks associated with aid of technology and digital mapping system to identify prone areas in spatial planning work. Resolving informal settlement and upgrading deteriorated buildings. Implementation of informal settlement, upgrading, and redevelopment of deteriorated buildings in city to guarantee safety, enhance aesthetic, and maintain public order. Second, development affordable and social housing. Expanding housing supply option. Promoting the supply of affordable housing for low to middle income households, and to build social housing for the urban poor and the vulnerable group, as well as to introduce affordable rental options to meet the practical needs of students, workers, and migrants. It also involves reviewing and updating project criteria, eligibility conditions, and administrative procedure to better reflect current socio-economic reality and enhance implementation efficiency. Establishing a housing fund moving toward the creation of an affordable housing fund to provide credit to citizens for home purchases and to investment companies for constructing affordable housing projects. Public-private partnership, promoting stronger collaboration between state institutions, development partners, non-governmental organizations, financial institutions, and the private sector to increase housing supply and improve affordability. Implementation of social land concession program, strengthening the provision of land concession to landless and poor family, vulnerable group, and retired civil servants to improve access to adequate housing, ensure the security of land tenure, and support sustainable livelihood. Third, and final, land administration and strengthening investment confidence, completion of land registration and dispute resolution, accelerating the completion of national land registration.
President of the Habitat Assembly said that I'm Maimunah Muhammad Sharif, the former Executive Director of UN Habitat from 2018 to 2024, and I'm now the Advisor on Sustainable Urban Development to the Government of Malaysia. So I was given the task to continue this roundtable, and I would like to call upon Deputy Minister of Public Works and Transport, Lao People's Democratic Republic.
Yeah, thank you. Excellency, distinguished delegation, on behalf of Ministry of Public Work and Transport of Lao PDR, it is my pleasure to welcome you today. I would like to thank ESCAP, UN Habitat, UNICEF, Habitat for Humanity,
particularly goal number 11 on sustainable citizen communities. To achieve this, we call for strengthened regional and global cooperation, knowledge sharing, and increased investment in innovative housing solutions, including the use of locally available and sustainable building materials. In conclusion, Eswatini reaffirms its commitment to advancing socio-economic and environmental transformation through sustainable housing and urban development. We stand ready to collaborate with fellow nations, development partners, and stakeholders to accelerate progress towards the realization of adequate, safe, and resilient housing for all in Eswatini and around the globe. Thank you.
March, you are talking about strategic frameworks and the strengthening of spatial planning and giving a lot of weight to legislative framework. I think I am told Chakie is here. Yes, it's your turn. 3 minutes, brother. Thank you.
Distinguished ministers, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to extend my respectful greetings to you on behalf of myself and my nation. I would like to express my gratitude to UN Habitat, the government of Azerbaijan, and the city of Baku for their efforts in organizing the 13th World Urban Forum, one of the United Nations' most important global platforms. Today, our cities are at the center of global challenges such as climate change, disasters, and rapid urbanization and housing pressures. As Turkey, we view safe, accessible, and resilient housing policies as critical to the future of sustainable cities. The earthquakes that struck our country on February 6, 2023, have clearly demonstrated that urban resilience is no longer a choice, but a necessity. In the aftermath of the earthquakes, Turkey has launched one of the most comprehensive reconstruction processes in history. Our approach is not merely to rebuild what was destroyed, it's to prepare our cities for the future in a more resilient, sustainable, low-carbon, and climate-resilient manner. With this understanding, we are continuing our efforts in safe housing, robust infrastructure, energy efficiency, clean energy applications, and on-site transformation. We believe that Sustainable housing production must be supported by the effective use of public resources, utilization of state-owned lands, revenue-sharing models with the private sector, and appropriate financing tools and long-term payment options. In Turkey, approximately 15% of total housing production is carried out by the public sector, while 85% is carried out by the private sector. The state's fundamental duty is to create a robust ecosystem that ensures access to safe, quality, affordable housing for our low and middle income citizens. Over the past 20 years, the public sector has constructed approximately 1.75 million social housing units, providing safe housing for over 7 million citizens, while also transforming approximately 2.5 million independent units to make our cities safer against disasters and climate risks. We view housing not merely as a matter of shelter and accommodation, but it is a fundamental element of social inclusion, resilience, and sustainable development. Turkey made significant contributions to the global urban agenda at the Habitat II conference held in Istanbul in 1996. Today, we are addressing the transformation of our cities in alignment with the new urban agenda, focusing on climate adaptation, disaster resilience, sustainable housing, energy efficiency, smart cities, and inclusive approach to urban development. As a country hosting COP31 presidency, we organized Turkey's path to COP31 Resilient Cities program in Hatay to make cities resilient against climate change and other disasters. We shared the work we have prepared in the field of low carbon, sustainable and resilient urbanization with international partners. I would like to take this opportunity to state that we are ready to share the concrete steps in our country has taken and our experience in line with the global climate goals with all nations. On this occasion, I hope that WUF13 will serve as a catalyst for concrete collaboration, and I agree to you all with respect.
Minister, thank you very much for those for that statement. Very commendable. 1.75 million social housing units. I will now call.
It is precisely the kind of integrated multilateral response that the triple planetary crisis demands. Estonia is ready to engage actively in this partnership.
Human settlement. Are you here?
Circular economy is central to achieving the European Union's 2050 climate neutrality target, and
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Yeah.
I am standing in for the Honorable Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, who cannot be with us at the moment, but he has asked me to proceed to present his submission. So I would like to stand on the already observed protocol and affirm that the implementation of the new urban agenda in Zimbabwe has been met with mixed results, where we had some success stories and some challenges that have been encountered. The bulk of the challenges emanated from the macroeconomic environment, as well as the economic sanctions imposed on the country. And being a developing country, Zimbabwe has endured the effects of high rate of urbanization. This has manifested in emergence of informal and dysfunctional settlements across the major urban and peri-urban areas. However, the government of Zimbabwe has managed to revise the housing policy, and they launched the new Zimbabwe National Human Settlements Policy, which was launched in 2021. So the policy framework, we are covered in that aspect. Then we have about 92 local authorities, 32 of which are urban and 60 are rural. In all these 92 local authorities, there's a huge deficit of off-site infrastructure, particularly for water and sewer treatment and transmission, as well as proper roads and public lighting. The high urbanization rate put a strain on the existing infrastructure, some of which have outlived their useful lifespan. In 2023, government adopted the Presidential Title Deeds Program, which is meant to facilitate regularization of informal settlements. City of Mtare, for instance, there's a settlement where now water is now accessible at homestead level, and some households are accessing through water kiosks. Then in terms of security of tenure, The title deeds is the dominant form of tenure in Zimbabwe, of which 58.6% are homeowners, while 19.3% are on rental. Then in terms of land governance and administration in Zimbabwe, land for human settlements development is owned by central government, local authorities, and the private sector. Then affordability, government normally provides the social housing, which is regarded as non-profitable enterprise. So the private sector then plugs the gap that is available for housing. Then in terms of housing finance, this is the major obstacle that the country is encountering, where we don't have adequate funding for off-site infrastructure. Like I indicated, the existing infrastructure is obsolete and needs replacement and refurbishment. Then in terms of domestic resource mobilization, Zimbabwe is predominantly private sector driven. That shows that there's a multiplicity of players in housing delivery in Zimbabwe. And regional funding, we are Class A shareholders to Shelter Africa Development Bank, and we have accessed close to 72.5 million in lines of credit. But in terms of international funding, since the turn of the millennium, Zimbabwe has not been able to access international housing finance due to the economic sanctions. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Zimbabwe.
Excellencies, over the past decade, India has been at the forefront through our citizen-centric and mission-driven approach. We are implementing large-scale and integrated program of affordable housing, inclusive infrastructure, water, sanitation, climate adaptation and mitigation, digital public infrastructure, renewable energy, circular economy practices, and sustainable livelihood. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban stands out as flagship example of our effective institutional delivery aimed at fulfilling housing for all. With over 12 million sanctioned houses and 90% of them allotted to women, the mission is transforming the lives of millions and advancing both SDG 5 and SDG 11. PMAY 2.0 further builds upon foundation of robust planning, cooperative federalism, and digital governance tools to ensure transparency and accountability. The program focuses on ecosystem-based urban planning solutions and sustainable rental models. Excellencies and distinguished delegates, approximately 100,000 rental housing units have been sanctioned to support urban residents and workers under Housing for All mission. Close to 8 million street vendors have been integrated into formal finance through PM Swanidhi. Nearly 1.5 million individuals have received skill training under our National Urban Livelihood Mission. Over 1,000 kilometers of metro rail networks in enhancing mobility and productivity across major cities. Further, digital public infrastructure is transforming urban governance and online building provision, GIS-based planning, transparent property taxation, and ubiquitous UPI payment systems. The recently launched Urban Challenge Fund represents a shift to market-linked, reform-driven, and outcome-oriented urban planning with central assistance of close to $10 billion US. It is designed to catalyze nearly 40 billion of investment through PPP. India is advancing now sustainable urban systems under New Urban Agenda with the help of our Technology and Innovation Submission of Housing for All. This promotes green and innovative construction technology practices. The Amrit Mission focuses on water security and circularity. The Swachh Bharat Mission has improved waste processing to the extent of 80% of waste generated. Our Mission Life promotes sustainable lifestyles and behavioral change as a cornerstone of climate action. Climate resilient urban planning and nature-based solutions will remain.
Please conclude, please, Excellency.
Central to our effort. Thus, we acknowledge that global commitments require collective action, strengthen multilateralism, and enhance South-South cooperation, which are crucial to addressing challenges the world is facing. As India advances towards national vision of resilient and inclusive developed nation by 2047, we understand that the scale of India's urban transformation has significant implications beyond our borders and can contribute meaningfully to shape global urban outcomes. Therefore, Excellency, India is committed to learn from global best practices while sharing our experiences and scalable solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now may I invite Director General of the Local and Regional Development Directorate, Iraq, to deliver your statement. Please, 3 minutes, yeah?
We apologize, actually, due to our delegation being unable to attend. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, may I invite Ambassador of Kuwait to Azerbaijan to deliver your statement. Kuwait. Kuwait. Kuwait, yeah. Azerbaijan. Kuwait, please.
No speech, thank you.
No?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you. Now, may I invite the Ambassador of Algeria, please, to deliver your statement.
Thank
Algeria.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
شكرا سيدة الرئيسة.
Thanks so much, Madam Chair. In the name of God, most merciful, most compassionate, the Minister of the Urban Planning and Settlements for Azerbaijan, Your Excellency, the Secretary General of UN
At the same time, our
Habitat,
experience shows
Your
that housing
Excellencies, delegations, respectful attendees, ladies and gentlemen. It's with great pleasure to be here in such elite gathering, in such critical time, where our world is getting towards a very critical status for the urbanization. And I'd like to firstly express our gratitude to Azerbaijan government and people for the well-organized of the 13 WUF in Baku. I would also like to use this opportunity to showcase the significant role by UN Habitat under the supervision of Ms. Anna-Claudia Rosbach for enhancing the urbanizing plans and policies. Our meeting today has its strategic significance since this 13th session has been conducted within the critical phase where the whole world tries to overcome the accelerated repercussions of the climate change. And since it comes just right after 1 month of the successful conduction of the second session of the African Urban Session in Nairobi, Kenya. Emerging from this point, I'd like to say that WUF13 represents the most appropriate, significant portal for the African status, showcase the priorities that have been stated on the level of the African Urban Session to the world. So Algeria would like to seize this opportunity to reiterate on our commitment towards the new urban agenda, precisely speaking, the SDG 11, since we do believe that this session is a critical phase to showcase the achievements that we all approach towards the NUA that's been endorsed through the Habitat third meeting. So I would like to showcase our national report towards what we have achieved in light of the NUA, the new urban agenda, that will absolutely contribute in sharing the outputs of the meeting, which is scheduled to take place in New York 2026 to review the midterm report of the new urban agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, emerging from the spirit of commitment and our responsibility, we have been in Algeria under the leadership of His Excellency President Abdelmajid Tebboune to upgrade the cities and to put it as one of our strategic
goals and priorities. And this has been achieved through adoption of inclusive and comprehensive approach to have resilient cities and to have application for the national mechanism towards sustainable urbanization. And this comes as one of the critical stones towards our vision, since our state has been working relentlessly to improve the well-being through conducting lots of different models of housing projects, targeting all different communities, categories, and to work on going beyond the slums and informal settlements and to minimize the rural displacements. And since 2025, we have got tangible results, including delivering more than 2,100 units and launching more than 100 million housing on the social level. And we've got the resettlement programs that has helped to have an end to the informal slums. Meanwhile, Algeria has got different urban projects through working on the logistical corridors and transportation networks and to have the proper tools towards the urban projects and to track all the challenges that we have faced in that aspect. The government has put a roadmap, and that's through the National Action Plan, which comes in line with the 5-year plan 2029 that works in line with all of the guidelines of His Excellency the President, where we merge all the current challenges for the water security and the digital transformation for cities, and to make sure that we will deliver additional 2 million housing units. And furthermore, to make sure that by end of 2026, we will make sure that all of those targeted have been delivered to the... Please conclude your meeting.
Just 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So within these dynamic activities, Algeria has managed also to make sure that we need to have amendments to the laws that make sure that we can have affordable housing. Number 10 for 2010, that has set the role for these legislations to make sure that we can have the social and subsidies housing. Meanwhile, we have got other laws for housing savings to make sure that we can have direct subsidies provided by the government from $5,000 to $7,000 USDs, especially for the different rural initiatives. All of those efforts come in line with mitigating the high prices of the houses to almost 95% decreased rates and interest rates through the funds that have been established to make sure that we can attain these goals. All of those projects come in line with initiatives.
For sure.
Sure. So for the strategic program that we have for the capital that's being launched in 2024 comes also as the main compass. We have 4 main practical plans. We have the blue one, the yellow one, and also we have the white alongside with the final road map, which is the green one, to have the eco-friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, the Algerian experience proves that to have a holistic approach that can cover all of the different dimensions comes critical and no more a luxury. So we can have the real driver to make sustainable changes and developments. And again, this comes as the result of our understanding and readiness to take part more effectively and to share the best practices within the spirit of cooperation. And we would like also to reiterate that we are open to work collectively with all of our partners in light of the UN Habitat Project to have sustainable future, resilient, safe to all of our generations. Thank you.
Very long, Excellency, 5 minutes. Okay, now I would like to give the floor to the Minister of Housing and Urban Planning of Bahrain. Please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished attendees, ladies and gentlemen, in the name of God, I'd like to deliver the greetings of King Hamad bin Khalifa, the King of Bahrain, and Prince Salman bin Hamad, the Prime Minister. And we would like to express our special sincere wishes to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, our meeting today comes within the critical stage where we have 2.8 billion people in inadequate conditions, which call for enhancing the international cooperation and to have innovative, sustainable plans that can make sure that everyone can get the rights. And since we believe that the adequate housing comes as the critical stone for the security of our communities, which is in line of our economic vision 2030 and also the government program, and to put this in place, Bahrain has got a holistic approach which is based on regeneration of cities within the national plan, aims at implementing on the ground the guidelines of the King of Bahrain, especially for the low-income households. Those projects that focus on making sure that we have all of the capacities and accessibility which comes in line with the SDG 11. Meanwhile, in Bahrain, we work in parallel to enhance partnership projects, the P, to make sure that we have robust, innovative solutions. Meanwhile, to make sure that real estate developers will supply affordable houses. Ladies and gentlemen, the concept of resilient cities goes beyond the housing and the environmental challenges. It should be ready to deal with any emergencies. In that aspect, Bahrain and the Gulf Cooperation Councils were recently subjected to unlawful Iranian attacks targeting residential areas, resulting in damage to a number of citizens' homes. In addition to infrastructure services, the kingdom demonstrated exceptional capacity for immediate response as work began at once to address the damage inflicted on the homes and properties, while providing alternative housing for the most affected cases, with the government bearing the full cost of repairs, thereby ensuring the sustainability of social stability and the swift return of citizens to their homes. And such experience confirms that building resilient cities comes as strategic must for securing communities and enhancing their resilience to face all unprecedented events. In conclusion, the Kingdom of Bahrain renews its commitment to continuing the development of its policies related to the housing, urban planning, and infrastructure sectors, and to strengthen its international partnership to make sure that we have more sustainable, inclusive cities for the future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency, for keeping up to the time. Thank you so much. And now I would like to give the floor to the Minister of Public Works, Housing and Urban Planning of Guinea-Bissau.
Boa tarde, queria começar por...
Good morning. I wanted to start by thanking the Assembly and also thanking the government of Azerbaijan for inviting us here, and also the delegation of Guinea-Bissau for being here. I want to present my point of view about the implementation of the global agenda in my country that defines two main actions, from which the first one is focused on the support that we've received from the UN Habitat in the infrastructure and legislation of my country, that really focus on the elaboration of a new plan, urbanistic plan, and the elaboration of city plans in the interior of the country that are going to allow to control and organize the urban strategy that is the agenda that we are willing to follow. At the level of concrete and specific actions, we have the support for the construction of new housing inside the framework of inclusive cities. And that's why we are creating a new program of reconstruction of the squares in the capital and in the interior of the country. The government also has their own actions to promote the urban housing at a huge scale. And within this program, we have the creation of big constructions, big infrastructure of construction, and water cleaning. Also promoting the green areas and constructing new houses to respond to the needs of our inhabitants and to enhance the life quality of our people. I think that this program from Guinea-Bissau and within the support of the institution UN Habitat has been promoting the qualities that have proven results in our cities, referring to urbanistic terms and promotion of the green spaces. And that's why I wanted to thank the Inhabitat program, as well as the support of the UN that has helped us to promote the urban agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency. And now I would like to invite the Chief International Advisor to the Minister of Cities, Brazil. Please. Take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to recognize Mr. Anar Guliev, Chairman of SCUPA and National Coordinator of WUF13, and to thank through him the government and people of Azerbaijan for their generous hospitality. At this second WUF under the leadership of Under-Secretary General and Executive Director Ana Claudia Rosbach, I wish to reaffirm Brazil's commitment to her work in strengthening the global urban agenda. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, and friends, access to adequate housing is a right that lies at the heart of dignity, security, opportunity, and inclusion. Brazil reaffirms its steadfast commitment to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, to SDG 11, and to the implementation of the new urban agenda. For us, housing is also the foundation of more resilient, sustainable, and democratic cities. Brazil still faces profound housing challenges that disproportionately affect low-income populations, especially households headed by women. This reminds us that housing is inseparable from social justice, racial justice, and gender justice, and that behind every figure, there are lives and families in need of protection and opportunity. In recent years, Brazil has resumed and expanded structural public policies to address this reality. The Minha Casa, Minha Vida program, the largest housing initiative in Brazil's history, was relaunched in 2023 and has already reached more than 2 million new homes, going on 3 million by the end of this year. The program was redesigned to promote urban quality, sustainability, and social inclusion. Today, 85% of beneficiaries are from low-income households. Another central priority for Brazil is the development of housing solutions for regions affected by climate events, which are increasingly frequent and intense. While informal settlements in Brazil reflect the enduring legacy of racism, discrimination, and inequality, these communities are also spaces of organization, resilience, and collective responses to urban challenges. For Brazil, combating urban inequality means reducing vulnerability and affirming rights. The Periferia Viva program, for instance, which was launched in 2024, promotes slum upgrading, basic urban services, housing improvements, land regularization, and stronger public services. Last year, 1 year after COP29 was held in this beautiful capital of Azerbaijan, we hosted COP30 in the heart of the Brazilian Amazon in Belém. This carries profound significance, as 87% of population in Brazil lives in urban areas, but 70% of those living in the Brazilian Amazon reside in those urban areas as well. This reinforces the urgency of advancing climate justice and urban justice together. The Amazon is central to global climate balance, but it also calls upon us to imagine and build development models capable of reconciling prosperity, environmental protection, human dignity, and hope. The impacts of the climate emergency fall heavily on the most vulnerable. That's why Brazil has placed climate justice at the center of its climate plan, with mitigation and adaptation targets through 2035, and why we view climate adaptation as a central dimension of urban policy and territorial planning. For the last few years, Brazil has also restored social participation mechanisms that are central to the work of the Ministry of Cities, such as population action plans. Public governance is strengthened when people participate in the design, implementation, and evaluation of policies. No meaningful urban transformation can be sustained without cooperation. It is therefore essential to strengthen coordination among different levels of governments, universities, civil society, communities, and local actors, while expanding institutional capacities and sharing good practices. Brazil believes that cooperation among governments, institutions, and societies, as well as the exchange of experiences among countries, is indispensable to building cities that are more humane, inclusive, resilient, and prepared for the future. Above all, Brazil believes that this is a shared challenge, and for that very reason, a shared opportunity to transform our cities into a space of dignity, belonging, hope, and a better life for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now I would like to call upon Bulgaria to be the statement will be delivered by the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Bulgaria to the Republic of Azerbaijan. Please, Bulgaria.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished ministers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. 10 years after adoption of the new urban agenda, sustainable urban development and access to the adequate housing remain among the key challenges for our society. In this context, Bulgaria has consistently implemented the principle of the new urban agenda in close alignment with the EU cohesion policy and the national strategic planning framework. We have achieved substantial progress through integrated territorial approaches and instruments such as integrated territorial investments, which allow us to combine different funding sources in coordinated manner. Strategic documents such as the National Spatial Development Concept and the Integrated Municipal Development Plans have strengthening the link between spatial planning and socio-economic priorities. A major priority has been the sustainable regeneration of the urban environment and the improvement of housing conditions. Bulgaria has focused strongly on renovating the existing housing stocks, particularly through large-scale energy efficiency programs that reduce energy poverty and improve quality of life. Nearly 2,000 multifamily residential buildings have already been renovated under the National Energy Efficiency Program, covering more than 130,000 dwellings. Additional projects are currently being implemented under the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. This experience clearly demonstrates that investment in the housing is a key driver of urban transformation and social resilience. At the same time, Bulgaria continues to face challenges related to energy poverty and access to affordable housing, especially for vulnerable groups. In response, we are developing long-term policies, including a national building renovation plan up to 2050, and a new national housing strategy with a strong focus of support for energy poor housing holds and improved access to financing. Looking ahead to the next decade, we believe several priorities are essential. Accelerating building renovation through sustainable financial instruments, placing affordable housing in the center of the urban policies, strengthening the links between housing and urban planning, and enhancing the capacity of local authorities. We are convinced that achieving the goals of the new urban agenda requires housing policy to remain in the center of the global agenda as a key driver of social resilience, economic development, and climate transformation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now, may I invite Burundi to deliver the statement.
Merci, Madame.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Your Excellencies, Ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to thank the government of from the government of Burundi to the government of Azerbaijan for organizing this World Urban Forum in its 13th session. I would also like to thank UN Habitat for its continuous commitment for the new urban agenda and also for the effort it shows in creating inclusive, resilient, and safe cities. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the subject of today's of this forum, creating housing for all, reflects challenges that we are all being faced with: social inequality, as well as the climate change consequences. This is also part of the new urban agenda decided in Quito, and this will allow us to better evaluate our progress and also see what the challenges are and renew our commitment in favor of the implementation of the new urban agenda for the next decade. The His Excellency President of Burundi welcomed this new urban agenda that is completely in line with our vision and our ambition to build inclusive cities that are resilient and that generate opportunities for all parts of society. Housing ensures stability, national cohesion, economic viability, and for that we have decided upon different reforms. First one, changing housing policy by including in it, among others, social housing. Two, the development of housing accessible to low-income households. Third, the modernization of the urban planning and land use. Then improvement of basic services, basic urban services. Furthermore, the promotion of local resources and sustainable building methods, and also reinforcing cities' resilience in the face of climate change. For doing this, up in 2040, we will be able to create resilient cities and achieve 40% of urbanization up to 2040 with sustainable and resilient cities. And we have already spoken about the challenges: a deficit in affordable housing that comes also with not having enough infrastructure and not having the opportunity to create such projects. However, Burundi reinforces the importance of cooperation, of the exchange of good practices, and the use of innovative financing practices in order to facilitate the implementation of the new urban agenda in the following years. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Burundi reaffirms its commitment in contributing to the implementation of the new urban agenda objectives, as well as other such objectives by 2030. Therefore, the government of Burundi invites all people to act so that the recommendations from this forum do not only stay at that, at words, that they become actions. Therefore, we will be able to help present and future generations, and I thank you for your attention.
So much, Excellency. Thank you. Now, may I invite Cameroon? Going to be the ambassador is going to deliver the statement. Cameroon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it's good to see you again. Excellencies, distinguished guests, I deliver this statement on behalf of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development of Cameroon, Honorable Minister Celestine Koutia-Koutes, who is unavoidably absent this morning. At the outset, the delegation wishes to thank the government of Azerbaijan and UN Habitat for organizing WUF13. With regards to the new urban agenda, the government of the Republic of Cameroon, His Excellency President Paul Biya, architect of the 7-year term of Great Hope, by endorsing the implementation of a new urban agenda in 2016, demonstrated a transformative commitment to safe, inclusive, and resilient cities and communities. This clear commitment by the head of state has been uniquely reflected in the choice of decentralization as a governance model, the adoption of a national housing policy in 2018, and in 2020, a national development strategy codenamed SND 30, aligned with the SDGs and dedicating a program to the modernization of cities. Indeed, Cameroon, which is currently conducting its 4th general population and housing census to better plan development and take the demographic dividends into account in policy making, shows a poverty rate that has been declining over the years with an upward trend. Excuse me, with an upward trend, and also clean regarding school enrollment rates, clean energy consumption, women's empowerment, the number of low-income house owners as benefits of those projects, the availability of urban roads, public spaces, and jobs for the youth. The voluntary national reports produced and published every 2 years document this progress and the ongoing efforts to strengthen urban-rural linkages and improve traffic flow in urban areas, to increase the supply of decent and inclusive housing, eliminate substandard housing, revitalize urban centers, and develop the urban economy. The implementation of these various areas of action under the new urban agenda is based on a public-private population partnership featuring multi-stakeholders, consultations, and institutional arrangements aimed at inclusive participation, better coordination of urban interventions, and more efficient procedures. Your Excellencies, for the next 10 years, Cameroon, grateful for the support of our partners, including UN Habitat, continues to count on them to accelerate the localization of the SDGs at all levels, and is committed in particular to pursuing initiatives related to inclusive urban planning, reforms to promote state-guaranteed access to land, the industrialization of the production chain for affordable housing using sustainable materials. innovations in urban financing, smart management of sustainable mobility infrastructure, and solid waste, strengthening innovation partnerships, and the open data system for monitoring and evaluating urban indicators with the aim of establishing a national model for promoting peace and prosperity among the people in line with the ideals of the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya. Cameroon, Africa in miniature, and proud of its balanced urban structure, intends to launch the first conference of ministers responsible for urban planning in the Central African sub-region to rethink, harmonize, and make more applicable instruments for joint space planning and the coordinated implementation of urbanization and real estate development projects. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
I thank you for your attention.
Excellency, thank you. Now I would like to call upon Colombia, and the statement will be delivered by the ambassador and the permanent representative to UN Habitat, Embassy of Colombia to the Republic of Kenya. Please, Excellency, floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excellencies, ministers, distinguished delegates, please receive warm greetings from our President, Gustavo Petro, our Minister, Helga Maria Rivas, and our Acting Minister, Aide Bello. Under the government of Colombia, the government of change, Colombia unites around our biodiverse habitat. We are the heartbeat of habitat, the pulse of a country where life flourishes through the environmental, social, and cultural biodiversity that define us. In recent years, Colombia has advanced in the implementation of the new urban agenda through a public policy known as our biodiverse habitat, an institutional commitment that recognizes habitat as a collective fabric of life, built together with communities and oriented to our social and environmental justice. Through our regulatory frameworks, comprehensive technical assistance, and our institutional portfolio of programs and projects, we contribute to the recognition of popular habitat and community organizations in order to advance social justice and facilitate the adaptation of urban and rural territories to climate variability and climate change. We promote territorial planning centered around water, water as a common good, water as dignity. We manage this common good in collaboration with territorial governments and with the active participation of organized communities through diverse solutions that facilitate access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation, strengthen food security, and give life to programs such as zero waste to a circular economy. We contribute to the well-being of Colombians and migrant population throughout different housing solutions aimed at reducing both the quantitative and the qualitative housing deficit. We engage in dialogue, consensus building, and collective action alongside organized communities in order to strengthen their capacities, territorial development, and peace in harmony with their knowledge systems, while recognizing and respecting their culture, wisdom, and environment. Our approach recognized organized communities as autonomous actors and leading protagonists throughout the process of territorial transformation. Ecosystems are our life, and for this reason, we invite ministries around the world to build habitat throughout the recognition of popular habitat and to view informal settlement as social fabrics where all dimensions of humanity and life unfold. We also believe that the new urban agenda must be reimagined in light of current challenges and as a broader habitat agenda. We believe in a renewed habitat agenda that includes rurality, water, and energy as common goods. The next 10 years demand that we understand habitat as an ecosystem of opportunities, social cohesion, care, and for life. Our government has made the decision
to focus its efforts on reducing the qualitative housing deficit, recognizing that public policy has historically overlooked self-built urban and rural communities where this deficit is even greater. We must look more deeply at the relationship between cities and rural areas, strengthen the autonomy of territories in generating their own solutions, and consolidate more robust financing and international cooperation mechanisms for middle-income countries that continue to face profound urban and rural inequalities. In response, we have developed new financing pathways and instruments that combine grants and multilateral banking. Colombia calls for continued strengthening of technical, triangular, and South-South cooperation alliance in order to advance jointly towards fulfillment of the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, because transforming habitat also means transforming our relationship with life, with water, with nature, and with communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now, may I invite the Eritrea, the statement to be delivered by the Ambassador of the State of Eritrea. Please, sir.
Dear Madam Chair and former ED of UN Habitat, dear Madam Anna Claudia, ED of UN Habitat, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Eritrea joins other speakers to express its gratitude to the government of Azerbaijan and UN Habitat for hosting WUF13 in this beautiful city of Baku. As your Excellencies will agree with me, cities and rural areas must develop together, not at each other's expense. Urbanization in Africa is accelerating. However, if we focus only on capitals and ignore towns, villages, and farming communities, we risk fostering inequality, migration, and marginalization. In a nutshell, not habitable homes, but informal settings and slums for the majority. Eritrea's approach is integrated urban rural development, connecting people through roads, energy, and water systems, decentralizing services to secondary towns and rural areas, linking production to markets via cooperatives, agro-processing, and manufacturing plants. In this regard, we welcome Azerbaijan's showcase of Karabakh and Eastern Zangezur reconstruction. Eritrea has similar experience rebuilding towns and services, including in rural and agricultural areas. The lesson is clear. Successful reconstruction restores the link between towns and the rural communities. In this context, Eritrea welcomes the launch of the Smart Sustainable Settlements for Safe Return Package for SRP Solutions Initiative, led by SCUPA, UN Habitat, IOM, and Baku Climate and Peace Action. We support its aim to develop voluntary guidelines for standardized climate resilient and peace positive reconstruction in fragile and post-conflict settings. We call for a working group to take this forward and for easier access to climate and development finance for this project so that they can be presented as concrete outcomes at WUF13. This approach requires substantive finance. We support the Africa Group's call for a first loss guarantee mechanism and reform of credit ratings. Madam Chair, the new urban agenda with the team housing the world will only succeed if it reaches villages and communities, and not just megacities. Let Baku be the moment we commit to financing and partnerships that connect, not divide our communities. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now, I would like to invite France, the statement to be delivered by Ambassador of France to Azerbaijan. Please, Excellency, the floor is yours.
Mr. Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, dear delegates, first of all, I would like to thank the Republic of Azerbaijan for once again welcoming the world for this very important event. The report conveyed by France in last December shows that globally we had an improvement of the implementation of the new urban agenda, thanks to policies very important around innovation, social aspects, mobility and ecological transition. However, there is huge differences between the territories, especially when the areas that are the most vulnerable. Today's priorities in France for this new urban agenda, we are focusing with the climate resiliency for cities, mobility and improvement of local governance. The consultation in Europe for this new urban agenda allowed us to establish a common decision for supporting the process, but still we are lacking a lack of commitment. Some of the European members decided to focus on housing and climate adaptation and reinforcing the local institution at regional level. They also called for the better implementation of the roles of new technologies, AI, and using data in a human rights-based approach with an ethical approach. France is active with UN Habitat to reach this objective for the new urban agenda, especially for the unaffordable housing with the different cooperation. With our presidency, supporting the working group around affordable housing, funding with 40,000 million euros for the platform of knowledge about the UN Habitat to allow the partners countries to adopt concrete solutions that are operational, supporting and funding 250,000 euros for Hub Uni Habitat in Paris. And within the end of the year, this office will value the know-how in France and Europe and to behave as a platform for cooperation for the collectivities, for researchers and practitioners. And finally, we will develop a French expertise on sustainable development. All these tools are within the framework of the BLM that calls for continuing this effort for affordable housing and to support the reinforcement of the housing aspect of UN Habitat for 2030. In general, France, since 2019, used 3.1 billion euros for the sustainable development and one for urban housing, 400 million in Africa, millions in Africa, in Asia and in Caribbean, Asian Pacific, for poor neighborhood rehabilitation, rebuilding in coasting area. France is available for all of its partners to share their expertise through the Sustainable Housing Initiative of FDA. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Excellency. Now, Indonesia. May I invite Ambassador of Republic of Indonesia to the Republic of Azerbaijan to deliver the statement. Please, Excellency.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Distinguished delegates, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we express our appreciation to UN Habitat for the excellent arrangement for this forum and to the government of Azerbaijan for their warm hospitality extended to Indonesian delegation. As the world's largest archipelagic country, Indonesia recognizes urbanization as a key driver of national development to be guided in line with the principle of the new urban agenda. The agenda has been mainstreamed into our national urban policy and the national medium-term development plan 2025-2029, as well as our development priorities under the Asia Cheetah in line with SDGs 11. Indonesia has made steady progress in advancing inclusive, sustainable urban development. Urban green space continues to expand. Supported by spatial planning reforms, The Indonesian Green-Blue Index contributes to increased green space per capita. Access to basic services is improving, while slum upgrading programs have reached over 359,000 hectares. Housing remains central to our approach through strengthened permitting system and partnership with private sector. Indonesia is accelerating development of vertical housing integrated with transit-oriented development, helping to reduce carbon emission while ensuring affordability. Indonesia is also advancing climate action through climate-responsive budgeting, zoning, and adaptive building standard. Green building practices such as passive cooling, natural ventilation, and energy efficient system are promoted under the Green Building Roadmap 2030. Smart building technology are also being adopted to enhance energy performance, supporting Indonesia's commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 31.89% to 43.20% by 2030. As highlighted in Indonesia's second national report on the new urban agenda, climate change is defining challenges for our urban future. The building sector, accounting for nearly 1/3 for national electricity use, is a key focus. Indonesia reaffirms its commitment to develop cities which held no one and no place to be left behind. Indonesia, therefore, sees for priorities for collective action, expanding access to adequate and affordable housing, investing in resilience and low-carbon infrastructure, strengthening multi-level governance and the partnership and the scaling up innovation and knowledge exchange among cities and countries. We encourage national urban forums as well as support South-South and triangular cooperation, allowing peer learning across stakeholders. We look forward to a productive and substantive forum that advances our collective efforts in implementing the new urban agenda. I thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. And now I would like to invite Hungary to deliver a statement. Please, Hungary.
Honorable Madam Chairman, distinguished ministers, excellencies, dear participants. First of all, allow me to join previous speakers in congratulating you and Habitat and the Republic of Azerbaijan for convening this important event today in Baku, bringing together tens of thousands of committed politicians, policymakers, experts, as well as several other partners from around the world. Holding World Urban Forum in Baku today is a recognition of Azerbaijan as an important member of the international community. Dear participants, 10 years ago, the international community adopted the new urban agenda with a bold vision to identify and implement environmentally sustainable and resilient urban development models that ensure safety, social inclusion, equal opportunities for all. Today, as we reflect on a decade of the agenda's ambitious commitments, we must not only recognize meaningful progress, but also urgent tasks ahead. Over the last 10 years, the new urban agenda has helped place the issue of sustainable urbanization at the center of global development. Many countries have strengthened their expertise, created urban policies, expanded climate-resilient planning, and invested into public transport or digital infrastructure. National and local level leaderships across the regions have embraced more participatory planning processes and acknowledged the importance of integrated urban development. Yet, despite the progress in many aspects, the housing crisis has deepened in many parts of the world. Access to adequate, affordable, and safe housing remains out of reach for billions of people around the world. Therefore, housing must no longer be considered as a social issue. It is a defining economic, environmental, and political challenge of our times. The reality is clear. We cannot achieve sustainable urban development without addressing housing at the center of the urban agenda. The next decade must therefore become a decade of delivery. As we look forward to the high-level meeting of the United Nations General Assembly during 2026 High-Level Political Forum, this midterm review of WUF13 in Baku offers an important opportunity to renew political commitment and accelerate implementation. Dear participants, let us therefore use this moment not only to reflect on the past 10 years, but to build the foundation for more inclusive, resilient, and equitable cities over the next 10 years. Once again, on behalf of Hungary, allow me to sincerely thank UN Habitat, as well as the Republic of Azerbaijan for the opportunity, not less the hospitality, and to congratulate for the professional organization of this important session of the World Urban Forum. Thank you very much. I wish you successful discussions.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now, may I invite Jordan. The statement will be delivered by the Ambassador of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to the Republic of Azerbaijan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please, Excellency.
Thank you, ma'am. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, Excellencies, Ministers, Your Excellencies, it's my honor to deputize for His Excellency Engineer Maher Abu Salman, Minister of Public Works and Housing, in delivering the statement of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. I'd like at the outset to extend our sincere appreciation and gratitude to the friendly government of the Republic of Azerbaijan for hosting the 13th session of WUF in the capital Baku, and for the excellent organization and preparation of this important international event. I also wish to commend their close cooperation with the United Nations Human Settlement Program in preparing this forum, which represents a high level of a global platform for discussing housing, urbanization, and sustainable development issues. We also express our deep appreciation for the program's efforts in supporting joint international action. Dear friends, this meeting takes place amid rapidly evolving and complex global context where challenges intersect: economic crises, climate change, increasing frequency of natural disasters, and armed conflicts across the Middle East and the world. These pressures are placing unprecedented strain on cities and on the ability to meet growing housing needs. This really compels the international community to develop mechanisms that strengthen urban resilience and adopt sustainable development models. In this context, it's my pleasure to share with you the experience of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan in implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and in particular the progress achieved in implementing the new urban agenda adopted at the Habitat 3 conference at the operational framework for achieving sustainable development, especially Goal 11, which aims to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. I'm also pleased to highlight the structured approach we adopt in preparing Jordan's second voluntary national report on the implementation of the Agenda 2019 to 2024, which recorded significant progress. Jordan ranked first in the Arab region and fourth globally in preparing and submitting this report to the United Nations platform. This reflects a clear indicator of Jordan's commitment to implement the new urban agenda and achieving SDGs. Distinguished attendees, in preparing the report, we transitioned from the descriptive monitoring to digital analysis and comprehensive institutional following up. We adopted an integrated methodology based on participatory governance and knowledge management through a dedicated national team composed of experts from both public and private sectors, civil society organizations, academia. etc. This ensured alignment of Jordan's urban policies with the economic modernization vision launched by His Majesty King Abdullah II Ibn al-Hussein, may God protect him, ensuring that urban growth proceeds in parallel with economic development and social well-being. We recognized what cannot be measured, cannot be managed. Accordingly, we worked on developing data collection tools from 52% in the first report to reach 95% in the second report, relying on 10K international indicators to enhance comparability and ensure data reliability. And also this report also focused on leveraging digital transformation as a key tool to improve monitoring and evaluation efficiency. A following up an evaluation plan was developed based on clear performance indicators to precisely identify development goal gaps and direct investments towards the most in-need areas, with a strong emphasis on environmental sustainability and urban resilience. In this regard, I'd like to extend our appreciation to you and Habitat for harmonizing this data framework within shared national structures to help identify gaps for each country. Excellencies, one of the most important outcomes of this experience has been the value of drawing lessons learned. This has led us to take a strategic decision to establish a national urban observatory, which will serve as an integrated platform for monitoring urban indicators, accelerating the progress of the new urban agenda. In conclusion, I would like to reaffirm that our vision for the urban future is based on cities that are more inclusive, more efficient, and more resilient. Cities that place people at the center of development and transform challenges into opportunities for sustainable growth. We totally believe that cities for the future are those that harness innovation and technology to improve quality of life while maintaining a balance between economic growth and environmental sustainability. I also reaffirm the commitment of Jordan to strengthen international and regional cooperation to implement SDGs and new urban agenda towards more resilient and capable cities for future generations. Peace and mercy and blessings of God be upon you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now may I invite the Liberia. The statement will be delivered by the Deputy Minister for Urban Affairs. Please, Excellency. Liberia.
Hello. All protocols observed. Madam Chairman, and all of the countries here present, I bring you greetings from His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, and my Minister, the Honorable Francis Sakila Numali, of the Ministry of Local Government. The Housing Authority of Liberia is the government's agency mandated to plan and implement affordable housing programs primarily focused on low-income families. We have struggled from war to present with housing initiatives, but our President, His Excellency Joseph Numa Boakai, has undertaken projects to ensure that Liberia and Liberians have affordable housing. The mission of the National Housing Authority is to provide affordable housing through public-private partnerships, developing and implementing housing policies nationwide. Current projects is the implementation of the President's SONA address to plan to construct 600 affordable housing units across Liberia to address housing shortages with a focus on enhancing urban development outside of Monrovia. The authority has explored partnership with international firms like GelPass to potentially provide 5,000 housing units across the nation. They previously partnered with Shelter Afrique for 1,000 units for low-income earners. Our President continues to work with the Land Authority to ensure that land lease purchase programs allow affordable low-income earners to acquire smaller plots of land. Today, Liberia is staying at the pivotal stage where the Monrovia is congested, and we are partnering with all of our neighbors to ensure that this housing crisis becomes a thing of the past. Last week, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma embarked on a journey to go to Kenya for the forum where he discussed our housing needs across Liberia. We are pleased to announce that the 600 housing initiatives are being implemented by the National Housing Authority in connection with the urban development, which I am the minister of. We are here to negotiate and to make sure that we link with other nations to hear what they are doing to help raise the awareness and create housing for our people. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now may I invite Comoros. The statement will be delivered by the Director of Land Use Planning, Urban Development and Housing. Please, the floor is yours. Comoros. No? No? Okay. Now we go to Madagascar. The statement will be delivered by Secretary General, Ministry of Land Management and Land Services of the Republic of Madagascar. Please.
Madame la Présidente.
Mrs. President, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the Republic of Madagascar, through the Ministry of Land Management, thank UN Habitat and the government of the Republic of Azerbaijan for the organization of this 13th edition of the World Urban Forum about housing the world, safe and resilient cities and communities. This meeting is a major step in this international reflection about the implementation of this new urban agenda, about the answers we have to provide to the global crisis about housing, and also to the growing challenge related to urbanism and cities' resilience in all different countries. In Madagascar, urban dynamics are evolving quickly. The cities today contribute to 75% of the national growth, while more than half of the population in Madagascar should be living in urban area from now to 2036. It is increasing the challenges related to urban infrastructures, housing, and vulnerabilities facing to climate events. Facing these challenges, Madagascar is committed to implement different policies and reforms to promote the urban development that is more inclusive, balanced, and resilient, while preparing a national national approach about housing with the help and the support of Our Excellency, the head of the government. It is within the national policy of urban and national strategies for climate resilience and reducing the risk of catastrophes. Within the framework of this reform, Madagascar is developing an integrated approach articulated along 3 levels. Local, the approach is with the strong community and taking into account the local aspect with the participation from the communities that is safer for the population. At the intermediary level, actions are focused on the local structure, implementation of structural infrastructures for more resilient and safe cities. At national level, this reform is based on a strategic vision on the long run that tend to reinforce the coherence of the territory, urban governance, and development planning, while integrating the value of our natural capital. Madagascar is also developing initiative to rebuild in a more resilient way in areas that are exposed to a climate effect. For example, in Thomas, facing after the aftermath of the storm. We also reinforce these public policies, the infrastructure, the building of, the creation of policies to reinforce the buildings. Also, we have outlooks within the framework of promotion and construction of housing that will include all the stakeholders. We are convinced that the answers to today's urban challenges needs integrated answers with urbanism, resilience, and social inclusion. The World Urban Forum is an essential platform for dialogue, experience sharing, and capacity building, reinforcement of cooperation, international cooperation. We call for commitment for this new urban agenda, and we are open to the development of technical partnerships and financial partnerships to promote inclusive cities and resilient cities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Now, may I invite Belarus. The statement will be delivered by the head of the Institute for Regional and Urban Planning. Please. Belarus. Oh, okay. Can we continue with Central Africa Republic? The statement will be delivered by the Technical Officer, Ministry of Urban Planning and Housing. Please.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam President, Your Excellencies, Ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to address you as you all have great experience and I would like to be able to learn from you. I'm speaking here on behalf of the Central African Republic at this 13th session of the World Urban Forum under the theme Housing the World, Safe and Resilient Cities. And on behalf of the President of the Republic, I would firstly like His Excellency Professor Faustin Archange Touadéra. I would like to express our gratitude to the Azerbaijani authorities for the warm welcome extended to the delegation and that they commend the essential role in implementing the new urban agenda. For the Central African Republic, the urban issue is a matter of development, social cohesion, economic sovereignty. It's not peripheral, it's fundamental. The Central African Republic is coming out of a period of instability, and now, thanks to mediation and the commitment of our partners, we are seeing progress everywhere on our territory. Now that we have this refound stability, we need to rebuild cities, not identically, but differently. Secondary cities transforming urbanization and being able to master it. It is not an isolated challenge. This is something that all sub-Saharan Africa is facing, and the data we have right now is that the urban population in sub-Saharan Africa will be very high. Our cities grow very quickly, and we do not have the adapted infrastructure, and the temperatures are on the rise. In Bangui, we have more and more floods that show how important housing policies are. We are not there to, we have to be there to absorb these shocks. And we have made a strategic choice, make sure that this is a priority at national level. And in that sense, we have the National Development Plan 2024-2028, whose 5 strategic pillars address human development, economic diversification, effective governance. And we also have the ProVeer project with the World Bank. We also have the 13th corridor that is seen as a real sign of strategic regional development. And of course, we need to work on water sanitation, water access in general, and we're also working on the digitalization of our land registry and in general of in the modernization of our land registry. For now, we are defending a vision of an African habitat with local materials, innovation to create affordable housing adapted to our climate reality. Our ambitions go much further than our borders because the Central African Republic wants to be a space for connection and for opportunities. And in the economic Central African community, we really try to reaffirm our engagement in terms of a regional development and to be a real emblem of stability. We're not coming here with our needs, we come here with a clear path, and we are not asking to be replaced but to be accompanied, helped. Investing in the Central African Republic right now is investing in a young territory that is strategic, that is in development, and if we do that, we will leave a better land, a better situation for the future generations. We'll be able to access better services for our citizens. But we also need to work collectively in order to make sure that sustainable housing becomes concrete and a true reality for all. Thank you.
Now, may I invite Lebanon. The statement will be delivered by the Director General, Public Corporation for Housing.
حضرة الرئيس، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished attendees, it's with great pleasure to be here in front of you within this ministerial meeting that comes within the WUF13. After 10 years since adopting the new urban agenda, here we are in this critical phase to showcase the achievements and to put on the table the challenges that we all face, despite the fact that Lebanon has been witnessing different challenges, but we have got this clear through the past decade to be in line with the new objectives and to make sure that we provide the social and adequate housing and to foster the sustainable urban planning. However, recently Lebanon has been facing the different catastrophes and the natural disasters, in addition to the forced displacement, particularly the last war that has directly affected the infrastructure and the social security. So today, the challenges that we have that has bounded our efforts towards the urban objectives, also the successive natural climate repercussions. Those challenges are particularly emerging in Tripoli, where we have non-secured housing units and the destruction of the housing units and the non-stable housing capacities call for action to reconstruct and reinvest in more secured, sustainable housing units. Also, different areas in Lebanon have been facing huge catastrophe due to the last war that has directly affected our national economies. Indicators refer to the fact that the reconstruction in Lebanon would go more than 11 billion USD, while the housing deficit has even gone beyond 7 billion USD, and since 2024 we got full collapse of 290,000 housing units in different regions across the state. Meanwhile, more than 286 cities have been fully collapsed, and with more than 1 million forced displaced people who cannot get back safely to their homes. The reconstruction for Lebanon, it does not only mean the reconstruction of infrastructure, but furthermore the economic reconstruction, the social reconstruction, and to have faith in the future. Emerging from those current concerns, we work on expanding opportunities for affordable housing and to prioritize the reconstruction, especially for the brownfield areas, through the collaboration of the partners, and to have roadmap that can work mainly for the future sustainable green planning. We call for the international solidarity and to have the innovation-based solutions. Distinguished attendees, ladies and gentlemen, the new urban agenda should form for countries like Lebanon real pathway towards resilience and sustainable development. And here we see this opportunity to reiterate on our commitment to this action, so we can be all together, collectively face the challenges that we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I conclude agenda session, is there any member or representative who have not spoken yet in this room? No?
Behind you.
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone. Okay, yeah. Yes, please, Excellency. The floor is yours, please.
Madam Chair, distinguished ministers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me at the outset to convey sincere apologies on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Lands, Housing and Country Planning of Sierra Leone, who was unable to attend this important meeting due to pressing national assignments at home. Let me also thank and congratulate the government and people of Azerbaijan for hosting this important event, not forgetting the UN Habitat. Baku is quite an amazing city. Thank you very much. I have the honor now, on behalf of my delegation, to represent the ministry and to reaffirm Sierra Leone's commitment to sustainable urban development, climate resilience, and recovery initiative. Sierra Leone warmly welcomes the launch of
and technical capacities in urban planning, land management, and resilient infrastructure development. Third, urban development strategies must remain people-centered by promoting affordable housing, social inclusion, environmental sustainability, and resilient communities that leave no one behind. Excellencies, the implementation of the new urban agenda requires stronger partnerships between governments, development partners, the private sector, and local communities. Mali remains fully committed to working alongside UN Habitat and all international partners to build cities that are safer, more resilient, more inclusive, and more prosperous for all. Together, let us ensure that urbanization becomes a driver of dignity, resilience, and sustainable development for future generations. I thank you for your attention.
As a country.
Thank you very much for Mali there. I will now call Timor Lesiti, Specialized Technical Advisor. And I'm closing the list now. Thank you. I'm closing with
climate change,
please take the mic.
Urbanization, informal settlement growth, environmental degradation, flooding, and disaster risk. We understand the urgent importance of integrated and resilient urban planning
Excellencies, distinguished
One of the major steps
of UN
undertaken by
Habitat,
Sierra Leone is the
honorable
comprehensive
ministers,
review of
mayors,
the
delegates,
colonial-era town and
development
country planning
partners,
acts
members of civil society,
81
academic institutions, private sector
1946,
representatives,
which
youth
has
and
now been
community leaders,
replaced
ladies and
by the National
gentlemen.
Recovery Planning Act of 2025. This reform represents a significant milestone
from the
in modernizing
Democratic
the country's
Republic
urban
of
planning
Timor-Leste,
framework.
I would like to
The new
express
act
our
introduces
sincere
a more
appreciation
inclusive,
to UN Habitat for inviting
decentralized,
Timor-Leste
climate-responsive,
to
and
participate in the
development-oriented
13th
planning
session
system
of the
capable
World
of
Urban
addressing
Forum here in Bakıda,
present and future urban
Azerbaijan.
challenges.
We also extend our heartfelt
importance of
thanks
this new law
to the government and people of
to the
Azerbaijan
four
for the
SRFP
warm
solutions
hospitality
initiative
and excellent
cannot be
welcome
overstated.
extended to all
Provides the
delegations
legal and
upon our
institutional
arrival in
foundation
this
for
beautiful
sustainable
country.
land use planning,
The
development
reception and
control,
organization
climate resilience,
demonstrate
environmental
Azerbaijan's
protection,
strong
disaster risk
commitment to
reduction,
international
and
cooperation and
coordinated
urban
urban
dialogue.
growth management. It
It
also
is great
strengthens planning
honor for
governance
Timor-Leste
and
to
support
participate in this
preparation
important
of
global
safer,
forum
more
under the
resilient,
theme
and
Housing the World,
environmentally
Safe
sustainable
and Resilient
human
Cities and
settlements,
Communities.
which are central objectives
This theme is highly
before
relevant to Timor-Leste
initiative.
as we continue
In
our
addition, Sierra
journey
Leone is
of
currently
nations
undertaking the
building,
preparation
urban
of
development,
structural
and community
spatial
resilience.
plans for major cities
Timor-Leste is the
and
newest
rapidly
nation.
growing urban centers across the country. These spatial plans are critical tools for guiding orderly urban growth, infrastructure development, environmental management, mobility systems, housing expansions, and disaster risk mitigation. Help identify vulnerable areas, regulate development patterns, protect environmentally sensitive zones, and ensure that urban expansion takes place in a coordinated and sustainable manner. The importance of spatial planning became even more evident following the devastating 2017 Sierra Leone mudslides, commonly remembered as the August 14 disaster, which claimed the lives of over 1,000 people and displaced many families in and around Freetown. The tragedy exposed the dangers of controlled urban growth, informal settlement development on vulnerable slopes, deforestation, weak land management system, and inadequate planning enforcement. Since then, Sierra Leone has increasingly recognized that effective planning, environmental protection, and resilient urban development are not optional, but necessary for national survival and sustainable development. Furthermore, Sierra Leone has enacted the Customary Land Rights Act, which is another landmark reform aimed at strengthening land governance, protecting land rights, promoting transparency, and ensuring equitable access to land, especially within customary land areas. This legislation is important because secure land tenure and transparent land administration are essential foundations for sustainable development, conflict prevention, investment confidence, and sustainable resilience. The country has also enacted the National Lands Commission Act, which established the National Lands Commission to improve land administration, strengthen coordination, reduce land-related conflicts, enhance transparency, and promote sustainable land management practices. The establishment of the Commission is particularly important in ensuring institutional accountability and effective management of land resources in support of national development objectives and resilient urban transformation. These reforms collectively demonstrate Sierra Leone's strong commitment to building safer, smarter, more inclusive, and sustainable human settlement. They also align directly with the objective of
Excellency, can you conclude?
SRSP solutions initiative by promoting integrated planning systems, resilient construction approaches, climate adaptation measures, and sustainable land governance frameworks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Excellency. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we have now concluded this session of the national statements. On behalf of the President of UN Habitat Assembly, Honorable Ngakomeng, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to all delegations for your invaluable contributions and for the spirit of constructive engagement displayed today. Our deliberation underscored the enduring necessity of international cooperation and our collective resolve in advancing the new urban agenda. The diverse perspective and strategic recommendations shared in this hall provide a vital impetus for the upcoming high-level midterm review in New York this July. Let us carry this momentum forward, ensuring that the insight gains here in Baku are translated into transformative action for our cities and communities back home. I thank you all once again and wish you a productive and inspired continuation of the World Urban Forum 13 in Baku, Azerbaijan. This session is now adjourned. Thank you.
Distinguished delegates, just a quick announcement from the Secretariat. As you will have heard this morning from the Minister of Azerbaijan, the host country is gracefully offering lunch to member state delegates. There will be volunteers outside the room and around the venue who you can ask where this lunch takes place. It's essentially on level 2 and level 4 of the Olympic Stadium. Please do approach the volunteers so that they can direct you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thanks to all the participants. We have one housekeeping matter related to this session. As the Chair has said, we're going to, of course, prepare a report, and to do so accurately, we would like to invite all of you who haven't done so to send your statements in writing to UN Habitat so that we can include that reference in the Chair's summary. I think you all know the email address of the Secretariat of the Governing Bodies of Habitat. And with that, I wish you a fine lunch and a good continuation of the World Urban Forum. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the forum. Thank you very much. God bless. A better clap for the chair. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You are wonderful people.
Qarabağa qayıdış yalnız yurdumuza deyil, özümüzə, işıqlı gələcəyimizə qayıdışdır. Bu qayıdışın ən mühüm hədəfi